Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Hello and welcome to Countryside here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kirree Kermode. At the weekend, I caught up with a very busy lady from Red Mie Farm, Ruth Mead.
I went along to see some of the boats on exhibition at the Manx Model Boat Club event, and also I popped along to the Ramsey Horticultural Spring event. Well, plenty to squeeze in as always on the programme, and of course with the clocks moving, spring is right there upon us. Some lovely flowers on display around the hedgerows of the Isle of Man, and there was plenty on display at the Ramsey Horticultural Society show held in St Paul's Hall in Ramsey. I popped along, I spoke to the President Anne Crane, but firstly the winner of the Supreme Award, Liz Tendolkula, and I congratulated her on her winning Forsythia.
Thank you very much. I'm actually overjoyed. It's because it's a stiff competition. There were so many choices from the Besson section which I thought would beat me. So I'm very happy to have. I can't believe it. I'm thrilled.
Now, your winning exhibition was at Forsythia, which is quite a new one to me, I must say. But it's a bright yellow sprig there standing out in the middle table. But are they quite rare?
I don't know. I think they used to be a lot more popular in the 70s, I have to say. The house that we live in, it's a shrub in the front garden, which I've loved for years. But this year has been the best I've ever seen it, and I have to put that in. It's brilliant. Yeah.
The thing is, these shows give so much variety, don't they? There's people with normal, pretty garden flowers, and there's the chance for the shrubs as well. There's such a variety.
Yeah, there is. I actually put in a few different types of shrubs. One of my magnolias was flowering, but obviously there's such stiff competition, I didn't win anything with that. But lots of camellias, and actually there's some shrubs there which I didn't know about. I don't know what they're called.
The nice thing as well, that people are walking around to exhibiting, as well as come to view the others. And what strikes you as looking around, apart from your own, of course?
Apart from my own. I'm absolutely stunned by the talent and skills a lot of people have. Looking at just the arts and crafts, people are making things I wouldn't have a clue how to do or even have the ideas to begin with. The bakery, baked goods, absolutely fabulous. I mean, wonderful. And again, the pot plants, we've got bonsais in the spring show, which are some 300, 500 years old.
Really?
Yeah. The guy who brought them in was telling us about them. And even the floral art, they look absolutely stunning and beautiful, absolutely beautiful. There's something for everyone.
Tell us about the Forsythia.
They're hardy shrubs. They come out every year, every spring, so fortunately they're generally in time for the spring show. And beautiful. They look a bit like broom, but a lot more flowers and completely different leaves, obviously.
Are they difficult to look after, pruning or weeding, things like that?
No, not at all. I chop it back regularly because it's just in front of my gate, and I need to get past. So they're really easy to grow, and as I say, hardy. Never had any problem with it. I've hacked it way back, and they just grow every year. It's fabulous, beautiful.
Need to be hardy souls to keep the winds out on the Isle of Man, don't they?
Definitely.
But all in all, it's great to see so many people supporting the show as well and coming in. No matter what they all like different things, and there's something for everyone.
Precisely, there's something for everyone, and the kids section is fabulous as well. You know, it's wonderful. It's really worth seeing. We're having a summer show later on in the year, and I'll be putting lots of entries in that as well.
Well done on your Supreme Award today.
Supreme Award, yeah, the Keith Carruth Trophy. It's brilliant. Thank you.
Well, let's get a chat with the president of the Ramsey Horticultural Society, Anne Crane. It looks like it's been a success.
Yes, it's been great because we didn't know how it would go really after being absent last year and COVID the year before. So it's been a bit of a revival, and we've been on a wing and a prayer to see whether it would work. But people have come out and supported us, and I think we've got a really good little show going on here today.
Well, there's certainly something for everyone, and it's nicely spread out. It's all arranged very nicely, isn't it? People can walk in between the tables and see all the different flowers and plants in the middle. None of them daring to touch that big cactus over there, that's one thing for certain. But and on the outside, lots of crafts and something from the younger generation too.
Yes, there's even the children have taken part in the photography classes as well as Lego and paper plate making and drawing, and but they've been putting plants in, and it's really good. We've got from preschool to whenever, and there's something in between for everybody, and I think everyone who's taken part really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's something now that there's lots of photography bits and pieces on show as well, and the great thing about the phones that people have got now, they take such great pictures and they print them out, put them on display, and they've got them with them everywhere, so they can capture lots of different things.
Yes, so there's no end of things that can be entered, but of course in these classes it's really quite funny because the judge's word is final. But there are controversial classes like, is it a jam or is it a pickle or a chutney? Or and then, of course, we've got the controversy over the bonnet class, always.
Whether there should be fruit in it or not.
Yeah, so, people do have fun with the results as much as the entering, really.
I think, though, that each different society that holds it, I think if they abide by their rules, I think everyone's fair enough with that, isn't it?
Oh yes, I think so. I mean, we all make mistakes, but we learn from them, and it doesn't really matter. It's the entering that takes the place of all the fun, really.
But I mean, how long have you been in the St Paul's Hall with it?
We've been here now maybe 5 or 6 years, and it is good here because it's plenty of room to spread around. We've got the kitchen, and it's visible for people who are around the town to know that it's on and can come and see us.
Yeah, and it's nice when you walk in the door, just that smell of the plants and flowers that hits you straight away, isn't it? It's a lovely spring feeling on a sunny day.
Yeah, well, I think the hyacinths that are on display and the plants and everything really do give you that spring feel. It's been, a really nice day, nice turnout of people, and it's been just fun to be here.
Yeah. Anything take your eye in particular? Obviously, you've got judges judging the Supreme Awards, but it's something that you thought, wow, that's struck me.
Well, actually, the bonsai displays that we've had here today have been spectacular, I think. We've never had that before.
And I was told that they were quite old.
Yes, well, some of them are 200-300 years old, which is incredible because it's something of a legacy that people must be passing on. But so that, they were stunning when you walk through the door to see a display like that. It was super.
Yeah, but it's not the end of it for you. You've got another show coming up.
We got another show in September, and we were unsure about getting this off the ground for this spring. We were a bit late in the day doing it, but we got plenty of time to plan for September, so we'll try and get the schedule out early and hope that we'll get plenty of entries.
Well, it's been a great display today. Well done to you and your team.
Thank you very much.
President of the Ramsey Horticultural Society show, Anne Crane, and before that the winner of the Supreme Award, Liz Tendolkar, with her Forsythia, which I didn't really know much about, and quite a pretty one. I'll stick a photograph up on the Facebook page to go with it, Kirree. But it's great to go in there. Lovely atmosphere and plenty of room, all sorts of different plants, and the age of some of them bonsais, Kirree, are hundreds of years old.
Nearly as old as you. But absolutely wonderful, isn't it? That spring colour all in one hall. It just gives you such a lovely warm feeling as we roll into spring, and summer's not far away. But the Forsythia, that bright yellow, it's just great, isn't it? It stands out.
Oh yeah, still got the smell in me nostrils now of it. Makes a change from farm.
It does indeed.
But talking about farms, one who's not that long been into farming, I wouldn't have thought.
That's right, Ruth Mead and Stuart there out at Kirkmichael farming away at Red Mie, and great throwing their gates open to the general public. I caught up with Ruth to see how Red Mie got established and how she digs in on tough days.
So last week we brought all the pregnant ewes in, gave them a quick health check before they went in. So they're now all in the maternity ward in the barn. Ladies in waiting.
And with that said, Ruth, now your background isn't necessarily sheep.
No, not at all. So I worked in the finance sector as an accountant originally. My parents were nurses, so there's no farming in my background. Stuart, he came from Manchester, having worked in aviation, doing
So you couldn't be further away from farming then, really?
Not at all. So when I met Stuart, I said, I love farming. I will always farm. You can join me. You can not farm. It's up to you. But just know that this is what I want to do. And you have to take on all that comes with it.
So with that said, Ruth, how did you actually get started?
So I started with 4 hens for a few eggs, and I bought 6 Lockton. I bought 2 wethers and 4 ewes because I wasn't sure whether I would be able to eat anything I'd raised. So the 2 wethers were a test for me, and the 4 ewes were either going to be 4 pet sheep or my starter ewes, the first 4 breeding ewes. And I was quite surprised when I ate the meat. I felt pride. I felt really good that I'd raised this animal, and I made sure it had a really good life and everything had been done right. And then we honoured it by making sure we didn't waste anything. So we ate all of the cuts, bit by, not all at once, bit by bit. And we just learnt about all the different parts of the animal. I had no idea what a fully butchered sheep looked like when the first one came back. And I remember just looking at it in amazement, like, wow.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And it has gone from strength to strength, because I do believe you've got a few more than 4 now.
Yeah, so we have overall, including sort of the ewe shearlings and the wethers, we have about 100 at any time at the moment of all pedigree Lockton. We do have a couple of exceptions. They're known for being athletic, and we had a sheep at some point last year, or the year before, jumped out, had a hot date with a ram, came back, and we had a white lamb born. Oh. And we know that our ram is not the daddy.
How many years now are you into agriculture, Ruth?
So I've had the Lockton for 12 years, and I've had chickens for about 15. And the poultry side started as a business in 2012. And then Red Mie started in 2019. As the farm was evolving, pet poultry name didn't really make much sense to selling Lockton. So we kind of thought, and it's actually Red Mie, and that's a good thing in Manx. Oh, so it's a really nice name.
And that said, you're not Manx yourself.
No, I was born in Sheffield, moved here as a child, and the difference in lifestyle between living in Sheffield and living in the Isle of Man, where it's so safe, so much freedom, so much outside time. I would never ever leave. No. So it's definitely home.
And we get to see you quite a lot of the time, Ruth, at exhibitions and like the Food and Drink Festival, the agricultural shows. Now I see there something to do with chili. Now that's not quite Lockton's or poultry.
So I met Stuart 6 years ago, and he moved over. We're married now. And he had an idea, and I was sceptical, I have to be honest. He said, I think we should grow some chilies, and I agreed to a portion of the polytunnel being dedicated to chilies. He lived a lot of the time down the south of England, London area, and in Bedfordshire, chili farms are a massive thing. And he'd visited a few for chili festivals and hot sauces and different chilies, and I did think the chilies were kind of red and green and hot and not hot. But this year he's growing 50 varieties.
Wow, you wouldn't even think there'd be that many, goodness.
No,
that's amazing.
And that's just scratching the surface. So, and they're from really, really mild to super hot, and actually the flavours are all so different. So he's just come along with that idea, and it's going really, really well. We opened a little bit for Pick Your Own last year for a short window in the autumn when the chilies are at the best. So we're going to do more of that because that went down really well, because people loved coming and just seeing all the different shapes, the different colours, and
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But that said, Ruth, you do open quite a lot. You have your lamb and lives, you have the open days through the summer. Yeah, how do you embrace all of that and obviously fit it in the weekly diary?
So lambing, we do open quite a lot over lambing. It's the most popular time. So we open all we can. Over the summer, we do have to limit the days. It's easy to think, well, there's 7 days in the week that we could open, but we have to ring fence a certain amount of time for actually farming.
Yes, this is it. There's a lot of maintenance and jobs.
So you've got the weeding, you've got the harvesting, you've got the marketing, you've got the admin. I mean, the admin is something that you kind of forget has to happen, and you do kind of push it back because it's not the most fun part.
No, this is it. I don't think any of us that like the outdoors really like the administration side, but that's it. There's so much to do with farming now. There's lots of great schemes to be involved with, the agri-environmental, but all of the welfare stuff as well is so important to make sure that all of our records are retained and the worming and medications all kept safe.
Yeah, so you have to know what you've done, and it's easy to think, oh, I'll definitely remember that, but you never do.
No.
So record everything, write everything down. We have a big diary, and sometimes on a busy day we'll sit down at lunchtime and scribble in the big diary just so that we've got everything we need when we get home later. But yeah, the opening to the visitors is something that brings us a load of joy. I mean, there's people that have never. I mean, Stuart was one when he first moved over. He'd never held a baby lamb. He'd never seen a lamb.
Absolutely wonderful,
he says, I've seen them on the train in fields as I'm going past, but he's never been up close. So,
oh, blimey. So it's a learning curve for both of you, really. All of it, 12, 15 years. It isn't a huge amount of time. No. But how have you developed the routes to market, Ruth? Obviously, you've got the locked-ins of poultry. Has it been difficult?
Yeah, it's hard to find a consistent approach. It comes down to the demands on our time, because sometimes there's so many unforeseen things happen in a day, as you'll know.
Yeah, absolutely.
you can lose a day really easily. So you can have a plan for the week, and then you can suddenly find that you're 3 days in and you're nowhere near. So for us, trying to develop some more consistent routes, we've got some stockists now of the hot sauces and the hot honey. So we've got Woodbourne Deli and mostly Manx in Douglas. We've got Cranky's Coffee in Peel. We've got Lee Mayer's in Kirkmichael. And, they've all been absolutely brilliant to support us. So.
And I think the Manx general public generally want to get behind local businesses. There's been a shift, I don't know whether it's since the COVID pandemic, but a lot more focus on where their food is coming from. Maybe they are mindful of the environmental impacts of global shipments. Yeah,
so we grow all our own chilies for our own sauces. We don't buy any chilies for our products. They're all grown by us. We grow to organic principles as well, which is super important. So we don't use any chemicals or artificial fertilisers. The chickens provide us with everything, and the sheep. So we're trying to create our own little whole supply chain. So.
Absolutely.
And then if we do need to bring things in, if we can buy it on the Isle of Man, we always will. We only ever use Manx honey. We've got a great guy, Matthew, down in Peel. He's got bees on the Portown Road, so we know exactly where the honey's come from.
And obviously on Facebook nowadays, social media, it's a great place for people to catch up. I'm assuming that's where you'll have all of your course dates and how to reach you, Ruth.
Yeah, so the Red Mie page has a link to our ticketing site. You see any events that we do will be on there. And then we also have a little shop through SumUp, which it's a very, very basic. Building a website is on our list of things to do. We've had conversations, and the guys are waiting on us, providing them with some photos and things, which we...
You just overlook because you're so busy feeding the animals a lot of the time, aren't
we
you?
We will do that soon. So, so we're looking to get more slick, and this just comes back to the pressures on trying to be everything as a very small team. And we've grown it quite organically, so, we can't just throw a ton of money at everything. We've just not got that to do, so we have to do it bit by bit by bit.
There we are. That was Ruth Mead from Red Mie Farm and Pet Poultry.
You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kirree Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, there's all sorts of model aircrafts get flown around various parts of the island. There's airfix models when people were kids. But there's model boats as well. And I popped along to the Manx Model Boat Club exhibition at the courthouse in Ramsey. I spoke to Kim Holland, one of the long-time members of the club. Well, firstly, the youngster, 11-year-old Sam Long. And he was displaying his lovely lit-up model pilot boat. I asked him first what was the purpose of pilot boats.
People step off those steps onto a ship.
Yeah. Oh, does it take people from the big boats to the shore, does it?
Yep.
Yeah. And where did you get this boat? How long have you had this one?
Since Christmas.
Right. And did you have to build it, or was it like this ready?
I had to build it.
Really? How long did that take?
About 9 or 10 weeks.
Right. And does it go in the water as well, this one?
Yeah, it goes in the water.
Yeah. Is it fast?
I think so.
Right. And what do the controls do that you've got in your hand?
So
Seems a bit complicated, is it?
So there's a stick that turns a spotlight on top, and there's a switch that turns off the port and starboard lights and the inside lights, and a switch to turn off the searchlight.
Right. Looks like the Ukrainian colours there, which is nice.
We copied those colours off YouTube.
Yeah. Well, it's a very nice one. It's nice to see it here today. Thank you for bringing it.
You're welcome.
Well, Kim Holland from the Manx Model Boat Club. It's a fine exhibition on display today at the courthouse in Ramsey.
Yes, thank you very much. It's courtesy of the Ramsey Community Hub. We got in touch with them. We had an exhibition here last year, just as we came out of lockdown. So we thought we'd try and repeat it. We put some different models on, and it's all thanks to the Community Hub that we've got such a wonderful venue for putting the display on.
What's great about this, there's a wonderful display of lifeboats, which are so, I don't know, well thought of around the Isle of Man, aren't they? Because we're surrounded by water, obviously, and they're such lifesavers.
Well, yes, and of course you've got to remember that Sir William Hillary was actually residing in the island when the decision to let's have a life-saving organisation was really hammered home by the loss of the HMS Racehorse in Castletown Bay. And we've got actually here today a model of it. We've got a cannonball from the HMS Racehorse, and we've actually got the diver who found it, Brian King, and obviously we've got his book here as well, so you can have a look at that.
Excellent. And the touch with the middle boats here, so much, there's the waterboard boat there and the Ben Ain, you know, there's a lovely local theme to it.
Oh yeah, we've tried to vary what we've got. So we've got some warships, we've got local coasters. We've got two versions of the Manning Dredger. We've got one that's working behind us, which ended up in Preston Harbour, and the one in front of us, Manning 2, although it's still called Manning, that's down in Clovellies, I think, in the harbour down there.
But some youngster, just been talking to Sam there, who's got the pilot
Sam,
boat there,
yeah.
and he was telling me all about it. So great to see some young interest.
Well, the club is for want of members. We're a dying race, and we have made it a target this year to attract new members in. And the way to do that is to allow the young ones to come in, who obviously bring in their fathers and their grandfathers. And Sam and Lewis are a great example of that. 2 boats now they've got, and they're returning the club loan boat, which we got them interested in, because they've now got a boat each.
Kim Holland from the Manx Model Boat Club, and before that, young Sam Long telling me about his pilot boat. The Young Farmers Concert, the rescheduled one, of course, is on this Thursday, Friday and Saturday. And hopefully next week on Manx Radio we'll have some bits from the concert and some chats with some of the people involved as always, so don't forget that. And we'll be back the next time on Countryside. So until then, from me, Simon Clark,
I'm Kirree.
we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.